Well, welcome everybody. I know that it's a bit of a rainy day this morning, and we're really thankful that our citizens and all of our distinguished elected officials and municipal representatives are here to join us. We greatly appreciate that. Wanted to welcome you. I just wrapped up a Denver South meeting where some conversation was around landscaping for medians along I-25 and a pretty significant investment along the I-25 corridor and what that looks like. Obviously, one of the biggest detriments to a landscaping investment is when you have folks that are unfortunately, soliciting donations in those intersections and maybe vandalizing those areas. We hope they don't do that, but I think really dovetails well into what we're talking about today. Wanted to begin today with a really exciting announcement. If you have not heard, the state has recently awarded Douglas County $1.6 million for the HEART team. So just wanted to, let's give a round of applause to our HEART team. I think what's so exciting about this is that we know that co-response is working, and we're having an active conversation that I've shared with you at Metro Area County Commissioners around expanding that co-response team throughout the metro area so that we truly have co-response not only in Douglas County, but similar parallel teams in Arapahoe, Jefferson, Boulder, Denver. Denver has one, a few other counties do, but we want to have increased coordination and information sharing through the HMIS system and other systems to the extent we can do that. But we're really excited because this grant would not have been possible without the incredible success of Tiffany and her team. We know that them going out into the community and reducing that point in time by 46% down to 27 is really significant. And so the state is paying attention. I would be really remiss if I didn't actually acknowledge our grant writers and grant writer, who is Rand Clark in the back. You don't get money unless you apply for it, so let's give Rand a big round of applause. So huge thanks to Rand and staff and everybody on that team. We greatly appreciate it. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jen.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. We have a full agenda for you all today, lots of great presentations for you, and we're very excited to kick that off with an update from Scott Shields, who is the Chief Executive Officer with Family Tree, and he is going to tell us about the Goals program. We just recently got kind of the funding solidified, available, and ready to go. So we're very excited to have Scott here to talk to us about that.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Commissioner. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. And as you noted, I'm here to talk about the Goals program, but I would like to first give you a little bit of information about Family Tree and who we are and how we serve the community. So if I could have the next slide, please. So Family Tree partners with all people to prevent and overcome the interconnected issues of child abuse, domestic violence, and homelessness to promote safety, healing, and stability across generations. That's our mission. That's our purpose. That's what we do in the community. And what we do, what we know we do is different and a bit unique is that we focus not only on how these issues are interconnected, but we work every day to build out an array and a network of services that provides the most efficient, effective services for people who come into our care. We know that when someone is suffering from and affected by domestic violence in the home and they need to leave the home and they go into a residential program or a shelter, they're not only making that courageous decision to leave violence in their home and they're a survivor of domestic violence, but at that very moment they're also experiencing homelessness. And we know if kids are in the home and they're witnessing or observing anything that's happening from the perpetrator standpoint that's occurring, we also know that those children will be affected by that violence in the home for a lifetime if that's not addressed. And so for us, these are interconnected issues, and that's why we do what we do at Family Trees. Next slide, please. So again, I'm here to talk to you all today about the Family Tree Goals program, give you a little bit of information about the program, how it's established, how it works, and also, as Jen mentioned, the exciting movement forward in partnership with Douglas County. And so what you can see here, and please just go ahead and forward through these bullets. So the Goals program uses a two-generational approach, and so what that really means is that we're working not only with the adults in the home, but we're working with the kiddos and the whole family unit. And so we're making sure that we're addressing holistically the issues that may have helped families experiencing homelessness initially, but also working with the kids and the whole family unit so that we can work to break cycles of poverty and homelessness and help kiddos especially and everyone really achieve their optimal place in life. So utilizing this two-generational program, we're stabilizing families experiencing homelessness. This is single parent or two-parent household, mother, father, it does not matter. They need to be experiencing homelessness and have children in their care. We focus on the needs of all family members. Our primary outcomes we're working on, of course, are helping families secure safe and stable housing as they're exiting the program. We can work with families. We've designed the program to work with families for up to 9 months as needed. We're also focused on helping increase overall health and well-being, employment situations and economic assets, and increasing that. Again, positioning children for academic success, making sure children are enrolled in school, making sure we're working with the school districts and the schools and their homeless liaisons to really make sure that children are achieving what they can in their academic programming. And then really important, and we see lots of great stories and anecdotes about this, but we're enhancing connections with these families within their community and making sure that they're increasing their social capital and their social network. Next slide, please. So these are just a few pictures of the Goals program currently. We've acquired 4 buildings on the former Excelsior Youth Center campus, roughly at the major intersection of Chambers and Quincy and Aurora. The schematic on the right shows where the buildings are situated. You can see that the Evergreen building, which is address 14997, will become the future home of the Douglas County Goals program in partnership with you all here. But this program began in collaboration, long conversations and work with Arapahoe County Human Services and Leadership, along with many other community providers. Family Tree provides, we're the owners of the program and the buildings, and we provide the intervention services, and we coordinate with on-site partners, again, to make sure that the experiences and the services provided to families experiencing homelessness right there on campus are as effective and efficient as possible. And I know we have some of our on-site partners, Arapahoe Douglas Works, and Sasha and her team here with us today, just as an example. And also just to note, we're having this program formally evaluated by the Center for Policy Research, and so we do have some preliminary outcome measures that are all really trending in very good directions, but the final evaluation report will be out in about a year or so. Next slide, please. It's really important, I think, in my opinion, to note that what we often refer to as family voice is really embedded and integrated into the work we're doing in the Goals program. We started before the Goals program even existed by meeting with families who are experiencing homelessness or have had housing instability to really inform how we would develop the program design. We developed several surveys and focus groups that included family voice in that design and implementation. And so we've baked in a lot of their feedback into how we're operating the program, not just when we started, but also on an ongoing basis. As you can see here on the second bullet, one of the highest priorities, and I'll talk a minute about that, is having the ability to access on-site high-quality early childhood education was one of the top cited services and programs that families were indicating that they needed. We then incorporate this ongoing by having family voice meetings every week, not just with parents, but also with children who are old enough to give feedback about the programming. And then from that, we facilitate those conversations and we make ongoing changes to programming to meet the needs of the people we're serving. Next slide, please. And please go ahead and just, thank you. So our current programming is in a building that we call the Shenandoah building. Currently we can house up to 19 families at a time. We opened this building in the middle of the pandemic, so we're still trying to figure out how to adjust to that. We're up to about 15 or 16 families right now, which is about the highest that we've had. We've never quite had 19 at this point. This is a building that has private rooms for each family and then common living space and amenities, kitchens, bathrooms, living rooms, recreational space. It's an understatement to say that living together in a communal living environment is challenging and it's hard, so we're still trying to sort out what that right balance is for the number of families. So again, hitting that 19 number is something we haven't done just quite yet. When the families are participating in the Goals program, though, they have access to quite an array of diverse services, including individualized case management, focusing on the goals they would like to achieve, working with our navigators and case managers to achieve those. I think a really important and critical part of this program is that we have a 12-month follow-up after leaving the residential program. We know life is hard, things can happen. We want to be there to be a safety net if those things occur, and so we maintain contact with people after they've left and even moved into safe and stable housing in case that occurs. Again, we have on-site employment and workforce services and job training and skill development, early childhood education and support for academic achievement. For the last 3+ years, we've been doing that with partners in the community. Our team has been out working with child care and early learning centers in the community to place children in those centers, but I'm excited to tell you in a few minutes about how that's going to change. And then, of course, a huge component is having on-site mental and physical health services, and we do have Aurora Mental Health Recovery subleasing a few spaces from us on-site as well. And then again, as I mentioned, that social capital and network development is really critical. Families building relationships with each other, maintaining those relationships while they're in the residential environment and also afterwards is really, really important for them in their place in our community. And then parenting skills and family cohesion training is important. We have Arapahoe County Early Childhood Council who comes in on a regular basis, as well as Ability Connection Colorado, who's our partner on the early childhood education side, providing those important parenting classes and parenting skills. Next slide, please. So as we move forward, we're excited about our partnership with Douglas County. I think you all know a little over a year ago, many of you were celebrating with us with Representative Jason Crow on site with a $1 million congressionally directed spending award that was given to Douglas County that has been awarded as a subgrantee to Family Tree. So that will provide a $1 million renovation to the Evergreen building. We're starting right now with 6 months of architectural and design and engineering work. We'll have 6 months of construction, and we plan to open that in about a year, in May of 2024. An important piece of this will be that we're going to increase occupancy in the building to be able to serve 10 families at a time. Right now, we can probably only serve about 4 or 5 families with the occupancy rating that's on the building. We're really excited, too, about building a possible partnership with the city of Aurora that will help us to maximize the number of families that we can serve, up to 10, based on what we're hearing the needs are coming right now from Douglas County. All those families that will be on site in this newly renovated building will have access to all of the programming services that we have, including everything that's on site, and we'll also be providing on-site space for Douglas County team members, as well as community partners from Douglas County that will really help with the transition for families experiencing homelessness back into their community here in Douglas County. And then, as you can see at the bottom, as I've alluded to, we're really excited. In July, we're anticipating the opening of our Early Childhood Education Center. We expect our certificate of occupancy for the renovations on that building, which we've been doing for the past 6 months, tomorrow. Next slide, please. So as you may have noted in my introduction about the work we do at Family Tree, and hopefully that makes sense why we do all these things we do, one thing we don't do is childcare. Ability Connection Colorado is going to be our childcare provider and partner on site. They've been providing high-quality childcare for over 20 years. They work with families who are low income and families and children with the greatest needs. So it's a very good fit for the populations that we serve and people experiencing homelessness. They'll also incorporate the early childhood education components of the two-generational approach in our work. The model will enhance, obviously, high-quality child care, prioritizing placement for residents in the Goals program, but also a vital resource in the community, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. Next slide, please. So I will admit this information is a little bit dated. I would hazard a guess with what we know that's happened with child care services in the last 3 years during the pandemic that the situation is even more dire. But within a 2-mile radius of the Oxford Vista campus, and that's the name of the campus that we call the former Excelsior Youth Center programming, there are 35 child care facilities within that 2-mile radius. Only 14 of those accepted CCAP, Colorado Child Care Assistance Program. Only 3 of those centers had a Quality Shines rating at the time of a 4 or 5, and none of them accepted infants. Out of those 14 centers in the area, only 3 of them had a rating of a 1. I'm sorry, only had a rating of a 1 or 2. But Ability Connection has a 4 rating. They're working on a 5 rating. So the high quality care that they're going to provide here is very much needed in the community. And I will note, we're going to provide services for up to 70 kiddos, essentially birth to 5 years of age. And I think that's, next slide, please. And I think that's it. So this is myself and 2 key members of my leadership team. If you need to reach out to any of us, we can all talk about the importance of the goals programming. And we've been working very diligent with Dan and Jennifer and the rest of the team on how we're going to integrate this new partnership with Douglas County. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this morning, for the work you're doing in the community. Appreciate this.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Scott, don't go too far away. Again, a huge thanks on behalf of the county for all you do. I know several years ago we had a conversation with Dan McKelkey and members of our staff about just partnership potential and some opportunities. And one of the things we often hear about here is this notion of housing first. And what's so phenomenal about goals is it's really housing plus. It's not just here's a place to go. And we know that shelter is so important from a trauma-informed standpoint, but it is mental health counseling, job counseling, reintegration. It's really all of those key critical services that we're looking for in terms of wraparound. So we are really thankful for that partnership. And then wanted to ask you too, I know, obviously Congressman Crow was able to direct some of those funds our way, and we've been waiting a little bit for those to land in the bank account. I think they're here, right? Yeah.
We've gotten the go-ahead to move forward, and so yeah, that first step was we issued an RFP for the architectural and design and engineering services about 2 weeks ago. We've got a couple follow-up questions, but we're ready, I think, to select that firm and start to move forward any day now. And we wouldn't be doing that if the monies were not available to us to draw down. So yeah, we're in good place finally. But yeah, it's taken a little while, Commissioner.
That's great.
Yeah.
So in terms of timeline, how soon would Douglas County residents be able to avail themselves of some opportunities?
I hope we're being conservative on this. So we're planning for about 6 months of architectural design and engineering work, and then subsequently starting construction with about a 6-month period of time. So we're looking at May of next year.
Okay, yeah. Great. Any other questions for Scott? Okay, Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, there we go. Laura Hefta, Parker Town Council member.
Just some demographic information. 2 questions. How do you find the families for your program? And briefly, what qualifications do they have to meet to get into your program?
Great question. The vast majority of the families come to us as referrals from our partners. That includes AD Works, Arapahoe County Human Services, the Center for Work Experience and Education, school districts, Cherry Creek School District, Aurora Public Schools. Because we're being formally evaluated, we have a very thorough referral process. We gather a lot of information and screening on the front end, and then that information is fed into our system, and then families are actually then determined at the time of, as you asked about eligibility, they're determined at the time when we make that eligibility determination. Then we literally hit a button, and that says if they go into our treatment group or a control group. So the control group means that we'll not be able to serve them, and we'll make referrals into other programs in the community. The treatment group, of course, are the services that we're providing. We keep the barriers to entry quite low. We are looking for families experiencing homelessness with their children in their custody. And I say in their custody, also in their care, because we have had families with children in their custody, but they didn't come into the program
this meeting is being recorded.
And so that's very important because, again, as a 2-generational program, we're serving both the families and the kids. And so the programming is really designed around the whole family unit.
Great. Other questions? Okay, again, Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you so
really
much.
Appreciate the partnership.
Appreciate being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Scott.
Well, and it dawned on me as well. Each of you are dear friends and colleagues that I get to work with on almost a daily basis. But I realize some folks may not know each other, and we do have a couple of relatively new faces. So maybe if we could go around and do introductions, beginning with our distinguished director of our public health department.
I think last month I was excellent, so it's distinguished, a promotion or a
Well,
demotion.
listen, you just keep doing the good work you're doing.
Mike Hill, Douglas County Health Department.
Thanks, Mike.
Councilmember Laura Hefta, Parker Town Council.
Tiffany Marcito, Heart Team.
Sheriff Darren Weekly. Deputy Brad Schramm with the Sheriff's Office.
Marissa Harmon, Lone Tree City Council.
Kirk Wilson, Lone Tree PD.
Amy Edwards, Douglas County Attorney's Office.
Jeff Garcia, Douglas County Attorney.
Good morning, everyone. Laura Thomas, County Commissioner.
Mike Palhimas, The Rock.
Good morning, Erin White, Mana Resource Center, and was with Winter Shelter Network.
Good morning, James Scholes, local Castle Rock business partner.
Jason Gray, Town of Castle Rock Mayor.
Abe Layden, Commissioner.
And Jennifer Eby, Douglas County staff.
I tell you what, so many good things happen in this county because of the people at this table, and I know we're greatly appreciative for each and every one of you. And Brad is really a new member of our Heart Team, working directly in that co-response with Tiffany to reach people experiencing homelessness, so we appreciate that. Before we jump into the next item, I also would like to highlight my colleague, Commissioner Thomas. She's done a wonderful job of working with the transition to JD 23, our new judicial district. And one of the conversations we had this last month was around our specialty courts and the potential opportunity for that new JD 23 to contemplate engaging with people from a sentencing perspective, so that there might be some unsupervised probation for folks that are may have criminal warrants but also experiencing homelessness. Commissioner Thomas, did you have any comments?
Thank you, Commissioner Layden. The new administrative judge has just been appointed, so we'll start having some more conversations. This is uncharted territory. There has not been a new judicial district developed in Colorado since the early 1960s. So we have about 19 months to get this done, but we'll do it right. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership there. Jen?
Yeah, so we will, thank you, Commissioner Thomas. We will move on to the Arapahoe Douglas Works presentation about the good work that they're doing with their workforce programs and connecting with those who are in a situation who need some additional self-sufficiency.
Almost.
I know. Self-sufficiency and just help along those lines. So we have Sasha Easton with us, as well as Sasha Larson, Andrea Barnum as well. Full group. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We're so happy to be here. Again, my name is Sasha Easton. I'm the Workforce Director of Arapahoe Douglas Works. And I have about 15 years workforce development experience. And so myself and my colleagues were just very passionate about the work that Arapahoe Douglas Works does within the community. And so we're going to be sharing what we do at a high level, but also highlighting in particular our services and programming for those that are justice involved and individuals experiencing homelessness. So next slide, please. So the vision and mission really governs everything we do as staff at Arapahoe Douglas Works. So our vision is really to be a best-in-class workforce development organization that is responsive to the dynamic needs of the community. And our mission is to strategically invest in human capital, contributing to economic vitality. What that really boils down to is, in everything we do, is a customized, personalized approach. We really meet our customers where they're at, assess their needs, and serve them to be on the pathway to success, whether that's through data, consulting, navigation, compassion, listening, capturing their voice, and we're really governed by our key results. Next slide, please. So this, I'll be kind of speaking about at a very high level what Arapahoe Douglas Works does, and then Sasha and Andrea will be kind of going more in depth into our programs and services and some of the data and outcomes that we have. But Arapahoe Douglas Works really has several customer bases. We don't have a residency requirement, but we'll be highlighting specifically our services and outcomes in Douglas County. We serve job seekers that are unemployed, underemployed, maybe seeking a career transition. We also work with businesses and industry and sector partners to help them compete in the current labor market landscape. We connect job seekers to various opportunities. So whether that's assisting them with career navigation, understanding the labor market, career pathways available to them, what type of occupational training they may need to be competitive. That could include short-term credentials, micro-credentials, and also paid internships. We also partner with business and industry and sectors to develop career pathways, understand the labor market, and also understand what training providers, community resources are available to them. We also connect our job seekers to businesses so that they have access to the talent needed to build their talent pipeline. We also partner with businesses to create registered apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships, and we have staff available to help with that registration process and also the paperwork that goes along with those opportunities. We also partner with business and industry on layoff prevention services and work with job seekers that maybe have been laid off through no fault of their own. We also do a lot of labor force data and analysis and reporting, and that's provided not only to our business and industry and community partners, but also to our job seekers, so that they really understand what are the career pathways available to them, what is the entry-level wage, what is a median wage, what does that career progression look like if they were to attain a new credential. What types of career transitions they may be able to do if they're wanting an industry shift. We also partner and have deep partnerships, and as Scott mentioned, you'll hear some of those from Andrea later today, but we work with chambers of commerce, economic development entities, K through 12 and educators, community-based organizations, and other entities to ensure that we're responsive to the current labor landscape and setting our participants up for success. We also partner on networking events with our business and industry, do a lot of consultative services, education, and networking, and our customers are often part of those opportunities, either through peer mentorship, attending, or sometimes even speaking about their experiences along the way. So I'll turn it over to Sasha, who's going to be speaking a bit more about our services specific to Douglas County. So thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Sasha Larson. I'm a workforce programs manager. I oversee all of our resource centers that are located throughout Arapahoe and Douglas counties. And also I oversee our Pathway Home Grant, which is specific to justice-involved individuals. Next slide, please. So this slide kind of is a brief overview of the services that we provide to Douglas County citizens. This is based off of our database that we use. Our participants have to self-report some of these items. So we have provided over 20,000 services to Douglas County citizens this program year. Our program year runs from July 1 through June 30th. However, this is just year to date through May 9th. Again, this is where that self-report comes in. So out of those customers that we've provided services to, 63 of them have self-reported that they are experiencing homelessness. And within that, 389 services were provided to that customer base. As far as justice involved is concerned, 118 have self-reported this program year that they are justice involved. And so we've been able to provide 531 total services to that customer base. And then Douglas County customers who report both experiencing homelessness and being justice involved is 13. We'll kind of go into a little bit more detail what some of the services that we're referencing here as we go further through the presentation. Next slide, please. So one of the programs that we do offer that is specific to Douglas County is a collaboration between the Douglas County Justice Center and Arapahoe Douglas Works. So it is the Douglas County Justice Center collaborative program for reintegration. So this program has been running for a couple of years now. Well, I think it was prior to COVID actually, so it's been quite a while. It is a voluntary referral program, so how that would work is a participant would need to express interest in being in the reintegration program, and from there they would be screened by the reintegration coordinator that is housed out of the Douglas County Justice Center and referred over to our workforce specialist that works specifically in the Justice Center. He works there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. So he is on site providing services to these individuals. What we do there is we do provide a 3-session workshop series that covers interviewing, emotional intelligence, and pursue your passion. The pursue your passion kind of goes over, helping them determine what they're interested in, helping them determine what skills are transferable to them, and then how to go for that. It also covers how to talk to employers about their backgrounds and things like that, because those things do come up. So we do provide information on the work opportunity tax credit, and there's one other. What is it? Oh, yes, and then the federal bonding program, which is basically insurance for the employer to hire them. So through this program year, we've offered over 260 workshops year to date within that series. And then additionally, the program does provide one-on-one career coaching for individuals where they will come in and discuss with our workforce specialists what their background is and kind of discuss what their previous work experience had been in, and he will help them navigate on career pathways that would be best suited to their interests, and also will take their background into consideration. So through that, we do that through career assessments, career counseling, and then he will work with them to create a resume. They'll get it on a flash drive and be able to have that available to them when they are released. So additionally, this staff person does attend the Douglas County Sheriff Office Reintegration Collaborative meetings and provides input at those based off of what he's seeing and what's going on. And then this funding is leveraged through federal formula dollars. Next slide, please. Our other justice involved program is the Pathway Home Grant. So this grant is a little unique in that we do connect with individuals that are incarcerated before release, and then we kind of stay with them throughout, for at least, usually it's like 1 to 2 years post-release. So in order to be eligible for this programming, they have to be still incarcerated and be within 20 to 180 days of release. The purpose for that is that early intervention of getting them set up, getting them introduced to workforce center services so that they can be prepared when they get out, that they do have this support system available to them. The other eligibility criteria is that this grant was only specific to 3 local areas: Arapahoe, Douglas County, Denver County, and El Paso County. So part of that stipulation for them to be eligible for Arapahoe Douglas Works is they have to be released to Arapahoe or Douglas counties. The main goal of the program is to reduce recidivism. So they are looking for a 10% reduction in recidivism, which would be within that first year of release, to a target goal of 8.73% recidivism. Unfortunately, we do not have that data yet, as this grant is still going. This grant does run through June of next year, so after that there will be more data, and the Department of Corrections are the people that are tracking that. Some of the services that are provided through this program is, so pre-release, we talk to them, what are your plans for when you're released, what are your employment goals, what are some things that you're going to need support on once you're released. So having those kind of counseling conversations with them before they're released, and then we try to connect with them 1 to 2 weeks after they're released to again say, hey, we're here, you're enrolled in our program, we can offer a bunch of different services to you. One of the main services that we provide to these individuals is housing assistance, and I'll get into a little bit more detail there. And then we do also provide 1 year of follow-up services. So if they get a job or anything like that, most programs will close them out, but we will follow them for another year just to ensure that they're successful and provide any additional services that they need within that year period. So in that, we develop individual employment plans, provide that career coaching, supportive services. So if they need transportation to get to work, if they need assistance to pay their rent, which is what we found to be the most beneficial service that we provide, because we don't want them to be out on the streets and resorting back to a life of crime. We also provide occupational training and micro credentials so that they can increase their self-sufficiency, work-based learning opportunities, so that earn as you learn model. And then we also offer incentives for for milestones. So if they get employed, if they keep their job for 6 months to a year, we offer additional incentives for that. For the program so far, year to date, we have served 94 participants, and we are at 30 placements to employment at this time. Next slide, please. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is our resource center that is located in Castle Rock. It is a STEM collaboration campus. It's been open for a couple of years now, about a year and a half. So it is a resource center that is open to the public, even though we are co-located with ACC. It is a collaboration with ACC, and it is a collaboration campus. So within that campus, we are able to partner with CSU, Douglas County School District, the SBDC. All of those other entities are housed in that same place. So we do have a collaboration and opportunity to work with one another. So far at that resource center, this program year, we've served 424 customers. 117 of those is through in-person service delivery, and 310 are virtually. And one of the things that we do is, again, provide that those individualized career services and program referrals internally to any of our other programs within the agency, or externally if we are unable to assist or need that additional support, we refer out to our community partners. What our goal is to really help mitigate barriers of the population so that they can get back to work or get that better job. And this will be highlighted towards the end of the presentation in one of our success stories. So I'm going to hand it over to Andrea Barnum now.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Andrea Barnum, Workforce Programs Manager at Arapahoe Douglas Works. I have been in workforce for about 9 years, and you may know me through the Employment First program. I used to be housed at Human Services in Douglas County. So if you will go to the next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to talk about program services at Arapahoe Douglas Works, some of which Sasha and Sasha have talked about already. So what we provide at AD Works is intensive case management for our participants, whether they are needing that, if they're job ready, it might be a monthly appointment. If they are experiencing homelessness, that might be sometimes a daily appointment until they receive some stability in their lives. We do approach case management through the trauma-informed lens that I know Commissioner Layden, you spoke on earlier. And as Scott talked about, the 2-gen approach is a big deal to us, working with the family holistically and not just with mom or dad separately. We do a lot of cliff effect counseling with our participants. And if you're not familiar, the cliff effect is when our participants are receiving public benefits, maybe SNAP, TANF, free and reduced meals, Medicaid, those type of benefits. And when they do find employment or have income, sometimes they kind of fall off what we call the cliff, which is when they don't have enough resources to cover those bills. They wouldn't be considered self-sufficient, and a lot of our participants struggle with that. So we do we talk to them about the cliff effect. We talk to them early and often about financial literacy and about how we're going to help them and how they can help themselves moving forward to find that self-sufficiency. We do that through a pilot with the Federal Reserve. We have tools, visual aids, charts, all these things that we work with our customers so that they can see the impact of choosing careers and upskilling, seeing how credentials, training, work-based learning can impact their ability to earn wages and how that will impact the cliff effect that they may experience. We want to minimize that as much as possible. Along the journey to self-sufficiency, we do provide supportive services. This year to date, for Douglas County participants, 450 supportive services. So that might be transportation to and from a job, to a training. We do provide homeless care packages, which is backpack, poncho, warm clothing and gear, gum, bottled water, snacks, those types of things. There's a wide range of supportive services based on the need that we see. We've had 904 workshop attendees this year. Our workshops, like Sasha talked about, anywhere from resume to financial literacy. We do review labor market information and set our customers up for success with training and credentialing. And like Sasha talked about, work-based learning. So that could be a pre-apprenticeship, an apprenticeship, a work experience, or an on-the-job training. And as our customers are achieving success with employment, they are eligible for incentives in most of our programs. And we do offer job retention services. So once they find employment, we don't stop there. We want to help them to continue with success for 3 months, 6 months, a year, depending on the program. We want to follow them and make sure that they're continuing to be successful. And if there are bumps along the way, we're able to help them. We also know that the work that we do isn't siloed. We work with you guys in the community and folks here today on a regular basis. And if you could advance the slides, please. We do warm handoffs and make referrals to a ton of community partners. And like I said, some here today: Bridge Center, Help and Hope Center, Parker Task Force, Manna Connect. This is not a comprehensive list, just some of the partnerships that we have. I also included some networks that we're engaged in. You guys may know the Community of Care Network in Douglas County. We also are engaged with the Change the Trend and Aurora at Home, because we do want to see trends in other communities surrounding Douglas County and how we can help our citizens experiencing homelessness that are also just as involved. Next slide, please. I'm glad Scott was here earlier, because I was about to try and do everything he did in his presentation in one slide. So thank you for that. Goals is an amazing partnership with Family Tree and Arapahoe County Human Services, and now Douglas County Human Services. We are housing, I think Susie said earlier this week, it's about 16 families that we have. At Goals, we have multiple staff from Sasha's team, from my team, on site that provide those intensive case management services. We have workforce specialists that have individualized caseloads that work with our folks experiencing homelessness to make sure that they get access to services and partners that they so desperately need. So on to the next slide, please. We do have a range of different workforce centers and satellite offices available to our participants. Here, the most access for our Douglas County participants, anywhere from, like Sasha talked about, STERM, we have Human Services, our Regional Workforce Center at Lima, Goals in the Oxford Vista campus, and Altura Plaza. Next slide, please. I'd like to talk about Aaron. Aaron is one of our success stories from the Employment First program. You can actually go to the next slide. There's a picture of Aaron. He came to the Employment First program after about 9 months of struggling to find employment after he was released from the Department of Corrections. He struggled with technology. We were able to help him get into a virtual work readiness program with ACC. He did a lot of career assessments and figured out he wanted his career pathway to involve a CDL, a commercial driver's license. He did really well in training. We paid for the training. He successfully achieved his goal. He is now working for Cisco as a food truck delivery driver, making over $30 an hour, and he just celebrated 2 years of sobriety. So we're really proud of Aaron. We're really happy for him and his family. He's thrilled. He's one that checks in with us still and just tells us he's still doing really well, and we're really proud of him. Next slide, please. We also have Roscoe. Roscoe came to us experiencing homelessness. He was a referral that we made to the HEART program, HEART team, and then we worked with him through our Disability Navigator program. Catholic Charities and the Rock Church were involved with him as well. He was struggling to find employment. He was experiencing homelessness at the beginning. His truck that he used for employment was undrivable. He was having a hard time figuring out what his next step would be. But he's someone that really showed that dedication to improving his circumstances. He actually walked to a hiring event for FedEx, and it was not an easy walk for him to do that. He engaged with our business services team, eventually received an offer from FedEx, and his truck was repaired. He's now working. The Rock Church provided him with temporary housing until he was able to save enough money to sign a lease, and now he is housed, and he's looking to upskill his career. So we're still working with him to see what's next for him. Next slide, please. So in a nutshell, this is what we do at Arapahoe Douglas Works. We could talk about this all day if you wanted us to. If you wanted us to come back and talk about other specific things about Arapahoe Douglas Works, we tried to give you a quick snippet of all the things we do, and hopefully we did a good job of that. But if you need to contact us or have additional questions, here's our contact information. We have business cards. We also have materials that you can pick up, a folder with lots of panel cards and information about our programs and what we do. Next slide, please. And do we have any questions?
Well, it sounds like, thank you, Andrea. To do really well at Arapahoe Douglas Works, if your name is Sasha, you get free car.
I know.
That's
I'm
really
going to change my name next, I know.
You guys did great. Well, I know we also have Deputy Sean Sanchez here as well. Hi. Reintegration at Douglas County. And, from a homeless initiative standpoint, I think explaining again why it's so important to have that coordination with Arapahoe Douglas Works. I've had the honor to serve on that board with you all for the last 5 years, and you really have done a phenomenal job and increased your footprint in Douglas County, both at Human Services and at the STERM Collaboration Campus. So thank you. But for you all, and maybe Deputy Sanchez as well, how does that reintegration work from the Justice Center? Oh, hi, Nicole.
So I do share an office with the Arapahoe Douglas Works person that comes in with Randy, and it does conduct some things that are both makes me that I think a little bit better.
Great. Hi, Nicole.
Thank you so much. It was so awesome to hear about the presentation from your side of things, because I only see the jail side. Randy's been with us, oh my goodness, since pre-COVID. We've had several people in that position for the last 6 years that I know of. It's fabulous to see the inmates work so hard in custody and release, and they're already prepared. We've had resumes, a lot of flash drives coming out just in this past month alone, which is so exciting to give somebody a resume before they leave our doors from the jail. So it's incredible work. Thank you so much for the partnership.
Nicole, thank you for that. I didn't see you over there. I'm really thankful for your partnership and everything you do at the Justice Center. I know for Mayor Gray, we often have this conversation as elected officials, but particularly at the Justice Center here in Castle Rock, when people are released, if they have a criminal record or they don't have transportation, they end up right outside of the jail, wandering around and maybe in a tough position in our public spaces. So the nice thing is the reintegration officers now have a little bit more resources and a vehicle to transport people if needed. HEART team also has a vehicle for transportation pretty much anywhere they need to go, including in Douglas County if that's the case. But then also just having the opportunity to get a job immediately. And we know how hard that is when you're justice involved and you have that background. So thank you for that. What other questions do you have? Laura Hefta, yeah.
Always going to have a lot of questions because I'm an attorney. I'm sorry.
Love it.
So, 2 questions. Is it difficult to find employers to work with and partner with? And secondly, how difficult is it to get employers in partnership with the federal bonding program and the U.S. Department of Labor?
Thank you, Laura.
I'll answer the federal bonding question. I think the biggest thing is education. If an employer is educated about it, it's a very simple process. It's something that the Workforce Center staff know how to do. It's just a matter of they just need to fill out a form, and then we send it to the coordinator at CDLE, Colorado Department of Labor and Employment, and then it comes back, she signs off on it, and it's as simple as that. I think that just like, again, the biggest struggle is that education and getting that education out there. We do collaborate very, very closely with our business services team. This kind of goes hand in hand with both of the questions that you answered. So part of what they do is they educate businesses on the benefits of hiring somebody with a background, and also that federal bonding and work opportunity tax credit for hiring anyone with a record. So they do a lot of that outreach and education, and they also are out there working with businesses and letting them know, and working directly with these programs and our career services and all of our staff to connect individuals with backgrounds to these employers, so that they do a really good job of that.
And the only thing I'll add is Arapahoe Douglas Works partners with a multitude of businesses. So large-scale businesses such as Lockheed Martin and Charles Schwab, Comcast, all the way down to sole proprietorships, nonprofits, AmeriCorps. And so we serve more businesses and job seekers in Arapahoe Douglas Works than any other workforce center in the state. We account for 25% of all service delivery just in our area alone.
That's great. Additional questions? All right, how about a big round of applause for Arapahoe Douglas Works? Thanks for being with us.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. I have the pleasure next of introducing Paul Egan, who is the Program Director of Bridge House Ready to Work, along with John McCollum, who is a Program Officer with Bridge House. And Commissioner Layden and I had an opportunity to tour Bridge House Ready to Work with Paul and another program officer there. We had a wonderful experience, and we're very excited to bring them in today so that they can share that with you as well. And also very excited that I know that there are already, I mean, that tour was just over a month ago, and I know that there have already been connections with the Heart team. So we very much appreciate that from Bridge House. So I will turn it over to you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is John McCollum. I've been with Bridge House for about 8 years since we opened up the Ready to Work programs. But I'm going to give a brief history of what Bridge House is, and then Paul will take over and let you know everything about our program. So Bridge House is about 26 years old. They started in a small carriage house in Boulder, serving, it was like 400 square foot with 400 square foot on top, and they'd serve, I don't know, 400 or 500 people a day out of that building. It was really unique that we were doing that many years ago. So then they started to do some case management, and then we started working through that. Fast forward that to 2015, when Isabel McDevitt was the founder of Ready to Work for us. Ready to Work is the three-legged stool that we know when we're going to put everything together of supportive housing, supportive work, and supportive services. So next slide, please. One of our mottos is that we're unstoppable if we all come together and do our work. That's who we are. I've been with, like I said, the agency since we started the Ready to Work program, and I've been doing this kind of work in the drug and alcohol field for over 20 years, and there's nothing more rewarding than helping folks get their lives back, get to work, and get housed, and get back into society. There's nothing more rewarding. So next slide, please. So Ready to Work's in those years to come up with Ready to Work started in 2015. Community Table Kitchen was one of the ones from way back in the very beginning when we were feeding folks experiencing homelessness. And today it's one of our big commercial kitchens. Did you guys get to do the tour at the kitchen? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
okay. We went up to we have a huge commercial kitchen too.
Maybe that's a different kitchen.
In a brownie business we do. So we do a lot of social enterprises for work for our folks when they come and have their stay with us. And then the basic needs is still we are, I think over 6,000 meals we're doing a month or a year. I can't remember. There's a huge numbers. Oh, we got a slide for that one coming up. Melissa Green was supposed to be here. She's our CEO. I got this last minute at 9:30 last night. So if I'm a little disjointed, that's because it just hit me at 9:30 last night. So next slide, please. The sustainable work. So Paul's going to go into what all of the details of all this are. So sustainable work breaks the expensive cycles, multifaceted, community-based. And we said that 1/3 of the adults experiencing homelessness with a need, capacity, and desire to get back to work. So I get asked quite often the best part of my job, and I say there's one day a year, and that's when we do our graduation every year. And last year we graduated 71 folks back to living wage and sustainable housing of their own with no assistance. And that was just last year. So I think there's a slide in there too, that we've served over 400 folks back to the community, housed, jobbed, and everything. I think that's next slide. Yep, Paul. I'm going to go ahead and let Paul take over. Thank you so much. And the programs we've heard so far, those are amazing. Keep up the good work, folks. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Good morning. Ready to work employment. So paid transitional work and social enterprises is a stepping stone to mainstream work. So at our Aurora location, we're going to generate $800,000 in revenue from our contracts. It's a big deal. The area we struggle is in winter work. Summer work is kind of our where we generate a lot of revenue, and then we struggle in winter. So if a partnership could develop over winter work, we would really appreciate it. 2 work options, landscaping and food service is up to 29 hours a week. It's again, it's seasonal, but we guarantee 20 hours no matter what. So if we don't have winter work, we pay them around the house to do things that need to be picked up. Commissioner Layden, we talked about what a shelter looks like in a community. And when you visited, you remarked on how wonderful the building looks. It looks like any other office building. So that's why we have the guys cleaning around the building. As you know, it's just a beautiful and wonderful facility. But we guarantee the 20 hours. Build a resume, references to begin mainstream employment. So when a client comes in, it's unpaid. So they're working in-house from day one, but it's unpaid labor. So they're interns. We get a look at them. They get a look at us. We have guys who've been locked up for 10 years, have been homeless for 10 years. Work in 2013 and work in 2023 are 2 different workplaces. We're teaching our guys how to show up for work in 2023. Next slide, please. So we total have capacity right now for 94 people, 50 in Aurora. It mirrors the homeless population. So we're built 36 males, 14 females. And when Bridge House Boulder opened, they did the same thing. So it mirrors the homeless population. And we specialize in homeless single adults. We provide 3 meals a day, on-site laundry, transportation, computer access, outdoor activities. Just putting a basketball court in now. Library, Wi-Fi we provide. We subscribe to Hulu Plus. It's available throughout the building. A bunch of places around the building to watch TV. And we have some football fans. We have some basketball fans. They go on whatever floor they go on. They pay us 1/3 in room and board. So when they start working for us, 1/3 of what they generate comes to us as room and board. They get 1/3, and 1/3 goes to mandatory savings. So when they finish the program, they could have anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 in the bank. We do require sobriety, and our locations are good for, we could access the tech center. We could send somebody to Aurora. We could send somebody downtown, whatever that looks like. But we're going to transition them to housing that we can find. If we can't find housing, either because of criminal background, a recent eviction, we control 6 apartment units. So anybody we can't house, we can house. We become their landlord. Next slide, please. This is our Boulder location. It's 4747 Table Mesa. Again, it has 46 beds. Next slide. So we provide cognitive and evidence-based treatment, addiction sobriety support, one-on-one case management, group meetings, career counseling, financial management, mentoring, in post-graduation aftercare. If Melissa Green were here today, she would tell you the secret sauce of Ready to Work is the case management. So we have 5 case managers for a caseload of 50. So if you work in mental health or criminal justice, you know that that's a really, really low caseload. And we try to make every interaction meaningful. So we know there's a high correlation to long-term success and contacts. So we want to have as many contacts as possible. It doesn't matter who the contact is with, as long as there's somebody in the building. We have guys who have a behavioral health case manager, but they always come back to see the chef because that's who they built the relationship with. And we don't care who the relationship is with as long as there's one exists. So we're their community. Next slide. So this is the holistic model. We need all 3 John touched on earlier. So we want to offer a balance of the 3 things. You can't take away any one of them and be successful. So we rely on all 3. A balanced and effective response to addressing homelessness by offering all 3 elements within the same program, which ensures a comprehensive, cost-effective, and lasting intervention for the individual and the broader community. And we want to be of service to the communities we're in. This is a unusual, there's a great amount of enthusiasm from Douglas County, and we appreciate it. On the tour, our enthusiasm's kind of over the top. I'm kind of holding it in. But we're uniquely positioned to be of service to the residents of Douglas County because we're going to open another location in Inglewood. So if you have somebody who's being released from the justice system, you can go up 25 and get off in 225 and go to Aurora, or you can go 1 exit up, turn west and go to our new Inglewood site. So it's a great opportunity all around that we really want to be of service to the communities we operate in. Next slide, please. And so these are our graduation rates. It's a little bit of a competitive thing we have with Boulder. They beat us by 1 last year. So we do bet Cool Whip pies to the face to the team that has the lower graduation number, and we took our pies already. But that's what it's all numbers, but it's people's lives. And so when you look at the numbers are great, but it's just the stories about the guys who are returning to their families, or returning to a job, or getting their kids back. It's the numbers tell the story, but just every day of being in the building and seeing the guys get their lives together, it's really something to see. This is the slide deck for the whole agency. I'm not going to go into what the whole agency does. I'm just going to stop right here. But this is our success rate. These are the number of nights of housing we provide. These are the number of meals we provide. These are the number of hours worked that we provide. And we're having a great year. We're growing. We're probably going to double in size in the next 12 months. Any questions?
Questions for Ready to Work? Mike Behemoth?
Great program. Thank you for sharing this. I just had a quick question. I saw something on there. I don't know if you referred to it, but on the Ready to Work program, the units, the cost per unit was $85,000 versus a traditional unit being around $400,000. Could you speak to that just for a moment?
So that's some numbers that the CEO would talk about. The number that we wanted on here that they put on our slide deck is it costs us $48,000 a year for a client to go through our program from start to finish. So it's about $48,000. And what we really wanted to do, the slide's not in this deck, but it has what the cost of the community is if this person stays homeless, stays addicted, stays committing crimes. So our $48,000 that we put into our client to get them back on track saves the community so much more. So I'm not sure, the 85,000 I was on the unit, I think that's something the CEO talks about. That one's not on my slide deck that I usually present with. So, but the number that we have is it's for, when we started out, it was around $17,000 to put a person through Ready to Work program. And over the 8 years, coming up on 8 years, it's gone up to about $45,000 to $48,000 for a person to go through our program. I'll throw in there, I don't know if Paul threw it in there, but we're 40-60 right now. Our social enterprises put in 40% of what our budget is, and then we have to fundraise the other 60%. We're working really hard this year to try to flip that. So our social enterprises bring in 60% of the money, then we only have to fundraise 40%. the perfect world will be self-sufficient someday, where everything's done through our social models and we're not a cost to have to fundraise or anything like that. Sorry, I couldn't answer the $85,000
That's okay.
question.
Good answer. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you guys again for just the work you're doing. The word says when you've done it under the least of these, you've done it under me. And I feel like you guys are just doing an amazing job. So thank you.
Additional questions? You know, I have to say that comment enthusiasm is absolutely right. I'm so blessed for the opportunity to work with great staff, and we get a chance to tour facilities that are doing wonderful work in our community. But getting to go to Ready to Work, I mean, you're exactly right. I could not believe how clean it was. I mean, and you had people just working in every corner with spray bottles and washing, and it was really eat off the floors clean in that facility. I couldn't believe it. And I think one of the reasons this is so important is we've been talking a lot about barriers to entry and having community partners where, there is no delay. If somebody has a criminal record or, they don't have kids, where do they go? What do we do? And our HEART team is doing such a wonderful job of engaging with individuals in the community. If they are truly ready to work, there is Ready to Work right here, ready to go. And what was nice, I asked Paul, I said, we've got 27 in our point in time right now. And, for those that are looking for services, would you consider taking some Douglas County folks that need help? He said, immediately. We'd take them right now. And so that kind of mutual enthusiasm was really appreciated. So thank you very much.
Can I add real quick?
Yeah.
We do a battery of assessments of ourselves and for our folks and everything too. And we pride ourselves that if they don't fit into our program, nobody leaves our building without a referral to somewhere else. They will not sleep on the streets that night if they choose to. Sometimes the referral is shelter and navigation, but then that's still, they don't have to go to the streets after they leave our building. That's we pride ourselves with that one. So our assessments, not everybody is a fit, but the ones that don't, we get them someplace else.
Yeah.
We work on that. I heard some other programs do the same thing. That's what we have to do. I mean, to turn somebody back to the streets does us no good.
Right. But you do have a commitment to sobriety when you're at Ready to Work, and there's a commitment that you do work in order to continue to live and get services, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you all.
Thank you all. Big round of applause for Ready to Work.
Okay, thank you. So next we're going to move on to Tiffany Marcito with the HEART update for us.
Thank you, Jen. We've had the privilege of working with Paul and his team this week, actually, regarding a client. So thank you, Paul and team, for your hard work. For April, we've had 114 referrals to the HEART team. 82% of those were from law enforcement. 5 were from our community partners around town. 9 citizen calls and 6 public referrals. Those would be referrals that somebody found on our public website and wanted assistance for themselves. 69 of those individuals were contacted by HEART, 15 we were unable to locate, 7 refused follow-up, and 2 were unoccupied camps that were working with the private business owners to get cleaned up. 95 of the 114 referrals were unduplicated for the month of April. That's not to say that we have not seen those individuals in prior months. This was just unduplicated for the month of April. Regarding case management and the work that our navigators are doing, in April, we had 11 clients that we provided ongoing case management to, working with them diligently to create a plan of success and to help them improve their situation. 2 clients were referred to DHS for benefit assistance. 2 were referred to nonprofit community partners. 2 were referred to a shelter that they wanted to go to. 3 were assisted with housing support. We referred 1 for mental health assistance. 4 were referred to our faith-based or nonprofit community partners for hotel vouchers, which we thank you for. And 8 clients were given assistance with transportation by our lovely deputies. The success story that I have this month, we came across a husband and wife that was referred to us by one of our nonprofit organizations. They were residents of Castle Rock, living under the bridge off the Plum Creek Trail, had family support, but they were recently estranged from their family, didn't know what to do, but their ultimate goal was to get back to Oklahoma. We reached out to a few of our nonprofit and faith-based partners in Castle Rock. They were able to be housed at one of our hotels for a couple nights while we searched for a bus ticket to get them back to Oklahoma. And we were successful in doing that. One of our faith-based organizations purchased 2 bus tickets from Greyhound for these individuals. We had 2 heart teams take them up to Union Station, print out their bus tickets to make sure that they were successfully navigated the Greyhound station up there. Sometimes it can be crazy. And then they left that night and they were able to be on their way back to Oklahoma, where they had family support, friend support, and employment waiting for them. So we really appreciate our faith-based partners for their creativity when we come across an individual who needs to get back to a location of their choosing. So thank you. That's all I have.
Wow. Well, and I know you're joined by your entire team here. If you all want to maybe just stand and introduce yourselves again. Then we've got Brad and Tiffany here at the table. How about a big round of applause for our team? You guys are doing such great work, and part of it that we often say as commissioners is caring for the caretakers and making sure that you have the respite and relief that you need. And I'm really excited about this $1.6 million and maybe some additional partnership in the future, because we often talk here about, well, the need is for when you make a call to the heart team, you get that somebody's picking up on the other end. There's that 24/7 response. It is nights, it is during the day. But you can't do that. It's just you all. Obviously, that would be additional folks that we might add in the future. We're not expecting you guys to do all that. Keep doing the great work you're doing. But hopefully, with that additional funding and more community support, we can expand these teams. We believe in investing where things are working, and right now, this is really working. So thank you.
And I do think that Deputy Schramm had some updates from the county.
All right, Deputy.
You're not off the hook.
I just wanted to talk about 2 things. Thank you. Just 2 things. Recently,
You're doing great. You're doing.
Is this better?
Yeah.
A little closer. There you go.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right. Recently, I came across an individual in Highlands Ranch near our Walmart, panhandling, not necessarily doing anything wrong. Through learning about his name and his birthday, I found he had a warrant from our Department of Corrections Parole Division. This was a no bond hold. It listed him as an escape risk. It was just me and Tiffany. Was waiting for another unit to arrive to assist with the arrest. He became very agitated, upset, screaming, yelling. It was kind of a hair-raising moment while I was waiting for cover. Ended up having to have a cover car come with lights and sirens on to me. Once we got him in custody, we found multiple knives on him and broken glass shards, conveniently pointed in a dagger shape. He had a knife in his boot pocket. Pretty much anywhere you could put a knife, he had it. We ended up taking him to jail without incident. But speaking to the co-responder concept, it was safety-wise, it was pretty important to have the law enforcement there on scene. Getting away from that guy, me and Will dealt with a individual in Larkspur, broken down in his car, had been stranded on the side of Spruce Mountain Road for, I believe, about a week. We learned that he was late-stage cancer, trying to get back to Florida to be with family, and he had the capability of fixing his car, but on the side of Spruce Mountain, it's just not an appropriate place, very dangerous. Other patrol deputies were trying to help him put his car back together. One deputy even went as far as buying a part for his engine. Will and I were able to get him a night at a local hotel, worked with a local automotive shop who 100% covered a tow bill and got his engine back together. We got a call from him yesterday. He's back on the road on the way to Florida. That's all I have.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that gave me goosebumps. I don't know about the rest of you here, but I know Sheriff Weekly was really wise in advising us that our navigators are doing such great work. But when you encounter somebody that is extremely dangerous, has warrants out for their arrest, that really is a law enforcement function. And so having law enforcement paired with navigation is our secret sauce. It is a wonderful thing, and I think those stories perfectly highlight why your work is so valued. Sheriff, did you have anything additional on that?
Yeah, no, we're very blessed, both with reintegration as well as our HART team overall, but the deputies. But that's a perfect example of the individuals that our HART team is contacting on a regular basis. And any one of these contacts have the potential to go south, and somebody could get hurt. So, this is the smart way to go. One other thing is I was preparing for this meeting. You and I had a discussion about a homeless individual in Denver that had gotten hit by a car. He'd set up a tent on the side of the road. This morning, I was looking just to do a little bit of research on that particular incident, and what I found was that was not an anomaly. It happens all over Colorado, all over the country, where homeless individuals are setting up camps on off-ramps or what have you, and they're getting hit by vehicles. And so I think it's critical and it's important to recognize that when we say public safety, we're not just talking about, our average residents or business owners. We're also talking about these homeless individuals. Law enforcement and public safety have an obligation, if they see something that's unsafe, to engage with that and not just look the other way and drive by. I would go so far as to say there's potential liability if we know that there's somebody, whether they're panhandling on the side of the road where there is no sidewalk, or they're setting up a tent on the side of a busy road, and we fail to act. I think there's a potential problem as well. In Douglas County, we're blessed because if we see those things, it's the HART team that goes out and addresses those things immediately. But I think it's important that we continue to be vigilant on these issues.
Sure, that's really well said. I appreciate that. And I mentioned a little bit about the conversation with the metro area county commissioners, and there's really only a handful of us, but we represent over half the state's population. And most are north of us in Arapahoe, Jefferson, Boulder, Denver. We talk about co-response, and oftentimes I get the response from them, we have co-responders, we have navigators, 2 navigators that go out. That is not co-response. Co-response is navigator paired with law enforcement. And again, it's because we appreciate and respect the work of the navigators that we want to keep them safe. And of course, those experiencing homelessness, they are really in unsafe situations, especially at intersections where there are high-speed turn lanes, people trying to get off into different roadways. So thank you for that. You guys are doing really great work. Any questions for HART team? Okay, Jen.
Okay. Well, thank you. Big thank you to the HART team. We're going to move on to the public awareness and a quick sign update for you. So I did want to mention Wendy, our public affairs director, was in here earlier, but she is off sharing our good news that we heard about the state grant today. And her team is working hard to be able to share that news, make sure that the community is aware, especially of what is happening to address homelessness in our community, and also to be able to talk more and spread the word about the handouts don't help signs that we have. And just as an update on that, we do have this picture that you see here is a new sign that was put up at Schweiger Ranch. They contacted us and asked us about putting a sign up, so we worked with them over this last month to do that. Luke, if you could go to the next slide for me. We also wanted to let everybody know we have started working on, I just have a kind of a snapshot for you here today, but we have started working on installing the signs that are adjacent to the RTD stops. So the green dots most of the green dots you see on here are the signs that have been installed adjacent to the RTD stops. So getting a little bit more visibility, I think, and awareness of those. So we're happy to see that. And at this point, we have 46 signs that have been installed throughout Douglas County. So happy to report that. And Wendy and her team are busy utilizing the resources, the media resources that they have available to them and working with our partners to be able to spread that word as well. So more to come on that. Any questions? Yeah.
Good morning. Marissa Harmon, Lone Tree City Council. Lone Tree has identified a couple of locations to put in signs, so we'll be in touch with you guys as we move through that. I'm also excited to say, and Chief may be able to elaborate on this, is that we're continuing to work with businesses within Lone Tree to make sure that we're all on the same page with no trespassing. You know, a couple of our gas stations, we've noticed some homelessness, so our PD has done a wonderful job in making sure that everyone's informed and knows their options and make sure that we're continuing to keep a safe environment for residents. So, anything you want to add? Okay, thank you.
Well, big thanks to Marissa, Lone Tree, and all of our municipal partners. I think as we've heard about the success of the campaign, there's been a greater request for more signage, and we provide that free. We also provide just the paper signs instead of the hard signs. We'll do both, but I know for our business community, there's been, I don't know if you had any additional announcement or conversation for us? Yeah.
We're on the same page, brother. It's not an issue. I'd just like to thank everybody. I think that for our company especially, I think we've seen a huge difference with the signage and the trespassing. That in place, the amount of engagement from our managers has been drastically reduced in Castle Rock. So we've had this same thing in South Nevada and Colorado Springs, and we've engaged the police there. And that's working on the trespassing. So I'm going to partner with our neighbors, natural grocers. I think there's a big web of people that do want to keep getting involved. And so our mission is to get all of our restaurants signed up, right? And I think we're almost there at this point, so that in every community we open in, and I apologize, I missed the last couple of meetings. I've been blessed that our business is growing, but I think there's still a need for community and getting these signed and having that ability. So you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I'm just going to jump back in. So thanks for the time.
Thank you for being here. And I also want to recognize Becky Nelson, who actually used to work here at the county, but is now at Denver South. We're having some ongoing conversations about working with our Douglas County Economic Development Collaborative and all of our chambers about opportunities to provide those the signs to businesses that would like them. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more next meeting and we can talk more about that. Yeah.
I'll just say to you, I mean, thank you for, when you discover someone that has dangerous objects on them or knives and those kind of things, I mean, you're saving lives. And that's a true experience from my perspective, right? Saving lives is dramatically important.
Yeah, and we recognize again everything you've been through there. Absolutely. So anything else on the signage? Any requests? I know we have our municipal representatives here. Anything from you all? Okay. All right. Great. Thanks.
Good. Okay, well, we are at the public comment portion of the meeting. I am not seeing any online comments at this point. So is there anyone in the room who would like to make a public comment? Okay. Or maybe any other final comments from anybody here. I know that we, going forward, are going to make sure that we have some space and room on our agendas to make sure that we give you all an opportunity to make some announcements or, provide any feedback that you might have. We want to make sure that we have a continued conversation along these lines. So, last chance.
Jen, Mike Wade would like to speak.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hi, Jen. It's Mike Wade. Hi, everybody. Mike Wade, Executive Director of Douglas County Community Foundation. Can you guys all hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
All right, awesome. I just wanted to give a quick update on the Douglas Has Heart Fund with DCCF, and I'm very excited to say that the way donations have been coming in, it looks like that probably by the end of this month, but definitely by the next meeting of this group, we should have enough donations in to be able to issue another distribution. So things are coming along very well on our end.
That is fantastic news, Mike. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Mike, thank you for that and for your leadership with the Community Foundation. That's the other benefit. The more signs that go up, there's a real nice URL that DC, is it the Douglas County? Douglas Has Heart, which redirects right to the donation site. So the more signs we have up, the more our citizens can donate safely to a trusted resource.
Absolutely, yes. Well, with that, do you have any closing comments for us, Commissioner?
I've had enough to say. Again, I think we have so many distinguished members here, and you all represent really significant entities in Douglas County. So we just want to continue to hear from each of you. Again, want to thank you all for being here. It looks like we're finishing right on time, but please keep in touch. And I think as the months warm up, we're going to continue to hold the line and do our best here as the Homeless Initiative. Thank you all.
Thank you.